What is cracking, lads? We are back with another trading video. This one is going to be pretty huge, so I'm probably going to make it a two-parter. There's going to be plenty of pausing throughout because there is a lot I have to journal and go over. And I actually think I'm going to try to extend this to a power hour trading session as well, except not on the 50K account. I'll get more into that later, but first let's just go over our trades we did this morning. Just go over the general feelings I had this morning, how I did, how I thought I should have done, and we'll go from there. The very first thing we have to do is journal our trades for the day. So we can go over here, switch to the appropriate accounts, and you can already see that I made a huge mistake this morning of over trading. So let's just take a quick moment and pause it while I write down all of these trades. Okay, and we're back. So I wrote down every single trade, and I actually found a problem here, which is my trades aren't adding up to my total P&L for the day currently. And I think this is actually the first time this has ever happened during a trading day. So there's two things we can do to deal with this. Number one is we can wait for the trading day to end and go back to reports and see if it looks any different there. And number two is that we can just go into the charts and try to see when these trades actually happen and try to go back and remember, you know, if the trade actually went out this way, because all of these first four trades are very accurate. It's exactly what happened. And these last two trades were also accurate. It's pretty much what happened. I think the difference is in one of these three trades, because I don't think I went negative all three of these trades, because I would have been really close to getting stopped out after this one. And so that I know I wouldn't have been able to take this trade at all. So I think it was maybe this one or this one that was actually positive, but the the trade of it is really not showing me that. And I've gone back and tried to doing all the math for all the trades filled and stuff. So we're just gonna set it to the side real quick and just go into the chart, because it's really not all that important if I can remember when that trade was and just fix it myself. So very first things we got to do, as always, is we walk in here, we see the 1 hour, right? We still have our buy side, sell side, because again, the last few days are only a few hour ticks. So the first thing I do is I put in the 930 vertical bar right here for the start of our day. Here was yesterday's. I deleted the last one because it's no longer relevant. I feel the same way about this turtle soup now. We don't really need this anymore because I think this model was completed our last trading day, really. So it's kind of extraneous now. I saw this buy side here because it's pretty relevant, I guess. It's good to know that that buy side was taken a few days ago and that we made this new one before coming down and going bearish. Um, Going into the day, though, so here's our 930. I remember I kind of wanted to delete everything that wasn't 15-minute or that wasn't the 15-minute or higher. So I kind of kept the 15-minute sell side here, and I kept the 15-minute buy side, right? So the first thing I'm going to do now is look for a 5-minute buy side slash sell side, see what's going on. And it really gets chaotic really fast. So this is why, like, this video is going to be pretty long, because there was so much that happened when I woke up. Because number one, I woke up late. So that was my first mistake. Number two was jumping in a trade like really soon after news, because I did see that news was at 10 o'clock and that really was the only relevant news of the day. But I think I was just too hasty to get in trade, and I didn't really flesh out my bias fully when I got into those trades. And that's why, like, really my first trades were just such a blunder. So just to double check here, yep, 10 o'clock news, that was the last relevant one. I literally woke up right around 10, so I was just instantly charting, instantly looking for entries. And that's why I say that waking up late is a mistake, because it's not that I missed the action, it's that I didn't give myself enough time to really go through my charting and, figure out my plan in a relaxed and patient way, to where, I can go make breakfast and then come back later and, see what happens. That's not what happened. I literally woke up and snapped onto the computer, started charting instantly, and that's just a mistake. So that's why I kind of like waking up at 9 o'clock, because it's not that I want to take a trade at 9:30. It's that I want to be relaxed. By the time 10 o'clock comes around, where the good trades are coming in, that I'm comfortable, I'm confident, and I know what I'm going to do, right? So that didn't happen today. And the first thing that really happened was this huge, huge sell. And I was already like, oh my gosh, there's so much happening. It's just intense. Like, the up till 10 o'clock was that sell off. So I just wasn't I didn't have a game plan like fully set when this happened. And these red lines here are so this 15-minute sell side was taken. Let's just start with one thing at a time. Had the 15-minute buy side, 15-minute is taken, the sell side is. And the next thing that happens really is that we drop off right here. I remember like this was kind of like my starting point of the day, was being right there. And the first thing I do is I write a 5-minute sell side. So I recognize now that we're going bullish, back up the other way, that this is going to be a sell side liquidity that's probably going to get taken later, right? And the 5-minute buy side liquidity I had was kind of a pre-market high, sort of. So this was from Friday afternoon, and I saw they were kind of equal highs. So I figured that it's still not taken, but I figured that soon in the day will be taken, especially looking at this action now. Um, we're gonna see later when I try to do a PM trade here, but for now, anyways, I knew that the buy side was pretty high up and that we were kind of bearish for intraday action. So we're going for a little rebalance here now, and have a 5-minute sell side. I put a 1-minute buy side here because I said to myself, I know I'm bearish. The last day or two was pretty bearish action, and this is nothing more than a rebalance. But because we're an observer, because I'm not predicting that we're going to keep going down, I know I'm saying to myself that unless this is taken, in a relatively short amount of time, which is why it's a 1 minute, we're going to be bearish. But if this gets taken, now we're going to have to think we're bullish, right? Because it wouldn't make sense. This is what this is here for. So from our pre-market here to our big sell-off in the morning, if we were bearish, we would rebalance into this area like it did here, and then we would continue lower. But if we were bullish, then what would happen is what happened currently is we would make a new low, create a turtle soup, and then we would pump upwards, right? So I didn't see this by then. So let's actually cut right back to here and just walk it through, because this is not more about the trades that I took today, because I overtraded. If I went over every singular trade that I took today, half of them are just blunders. So what's really important is understanding the price action, because you need to understand the price action more than you understand the trades you're taking, because you're never going to understand your trades you're taking if you don't understand the price action first. So another big mistake I made today is also I didn't look for a singular SMT today, not a single one. And I think that is just um, sad, because one of my goals is to get better at finding SMTs and using them with my biases. And SMTs are really good to use. I've seen Justin uses it all the time. Profitable traders know to use SMTs because that divergence in the two indexes are a really big indicator that they're not in sync, and that means something is going on, that we're either going to push bearish or push bullish depending on which direction that SMT is in. So the fact that I didn't even look for any today, because of, again, I woke up late, I'm just on the computer instantly, I didn't give myself time to be relaxed and to like look for all of those things I need to look for before even taking my first trade. So that's just another reason why I felt kind of like a clown going into my trading this morning. All right, so now here we are, real time pretty much. Right when I wake up, right when I'm charting, hit that big sell off. So I know I'm looking for shorts right now, because again, I knew we were bearish for a while, and I thought this would be a rebalance and then we'd come back down. So I think that actually leads into my first trade of the day, which was at 10:20. So let's look at 10:20. So this is 10:02. We're rebalancing in here. I saw this hit discount. I kind of got nervous. This is where I wrote this here because this is where I should have taken my short of the day, and that's why I think my first mistake was really here, because if I wanted a short, it should have been right here. This is going into discount, coming back down, hunting that liquidity. This is a trade I should be taking 100% of the time. If I wake up at 9 o'clock, see this action at first, see the rebalance, have a fair value gap here somewhere, like right here, for example. Boom, right? So that's actually bearish. So this would be the example that I would always want to be trading right here, but I missed it. And so that was a thing that played into my first mistake of the day, is that I missed that, and I was still looking for shorts when now I should have been readjusting my bias and waiting for more action. Because like I said, guys, there's no chance that even like especially if you have the same bias still, there's no chance there should be two back-to-back trades within, you know, even 10 minutes. Like it depends on the structure and depends on your, everything that's going on. But in reality, there should not be a trade that soon between each other like that. And um, we take the sell side on top of that. So, I should really be waiting for price action at this point because I don't know what's going to happen after this. This is really aggressive move. And, I had to cut off my 5 minute sell side, say that it ended there, and I had to put a new one down here. And, that tells me that now I don't know what's going to happen. And that's bad news for me. So now we get into 1020. So here's our first trade of the day. This is why I say fair value gaps need to be one and done, because we had confluence here. We had the discount range, right? We had the big sell-off. We had the rebalance. We had the positive trade that I should have taken if I was up on time, if I did my due diligence, and I didn't. So now when we balance back into the zone, guess what I do? I try to take a short. And this is literally has to be the shortest trade of my life, right? Because it was 5 seconds and I lost $250. So missed the real short. So that's actually what happened here. And that's why I lost all that money so fast. And then guess what I do after that, which is an even bigger mistake, is that I try to take another short soon after that. And it's because I see this action here, right? And I say to myself, okay, it's 1024, right? No, 1022. So even 2 minutes after the first trade, I'm trying to take the same bias trade and the same exact thing happens to me. I don't even know what I'm thinking here, honestly. This has got to be one of the worst trades I've ever thought of taking ever. Just because I thought that this confluence was still going to work. So let's just delete that because we need to get that out of our mind. Our confluence, our displacement, our PD arrays, our confirmation needs to be one and done. We cannot, I cannot try to chase a trade because I saw something get confirmed once. No, I need to wait for something new. I need to wait for new price action and then let that new thing that I see confirm that new price action. I can't use old price action in an old confluence with an old trade that would have worked to then say, oh, maybe this trade will work now. That's just wrong. That's the worst way to go about it. And so what happens here is that I lose two trades back to back and I say to myself, number one, I'm making stupid mistakes. I didn't even size down, right? I lost I lost two trades in about, 2.5 minutes, down 500-ish. I don't even size down, right? And then at the same time, I don't even think through these trades. So I'm really saying to myself now, like, damn, this is going to be either a really, really bad day or I'm going to have to come back from this because, I'm already waking up late. I'm making so many mistakes back to back, man. Like, it's so hard to even think about now making this video, but I know to myself that like I've been making progress and I cannot forfeit this progress and just end my day here. I just know I can't. Like I'm more than willing to start a new account for the sake of, not letting this entire progress go to waste and then start the next day, $500,000 down and then wait 10 plus days to finally get back to where I was today. I mean, I just, everyone is different, but I know my goals and what I want to be doing by the end of July. And this just doesn't align with that at all. So at this point, I'm just kind of tilted. I'm ready to risk it all. And, this leads to our 1034 trade where now we're kind of choppy. That's kind of why I drew this here, right? And my next big mistake is just jumping into my next bias, which is, we just basically formed a turtle soup down here, right? If you can't tell, like we're manipulating clearly to the downside. And now I'm starting to get the feeling that this accumulation is going to be a turtle soup on a lower time frame, so like the 15-second, to do exactly what was going on here for like the 5 minute, which is just a bunch of, consolidation, a big drop down, right? Another drop down, and then finally we rebalance up. So I'm looking for the same thing now, but on a lower time frame. And so my first mistake with changing my bias and adapting to the day is that I'm not waiting long enough though. I'm not really confirming that before I jump into it. And then at the same time, I'm not even sizing down. So it's just mistake after mistake after mistake. So let's just keep playing the action here. And here's 1034 actually. So my next trade here is yet a long. So we finally switched to longs and we think that this is where we're going to bounce off because here's some accumulation and then here's some displacement. But I'm not even waiting, man. It's like it's so frustrating to even look at because I'm not even waiting for the right action to happen. Like if I really thought we were going to go long, this is only accumulation. There's no manipulation yet, right? There's no displacement yet. There's nothing here for me. And so that's why I lose my next trade pretty fast. It was only 10 seconds. So literally within this candle, it just drops under the fair value gap and instantly wicks me out. So it's just really sad to see because, making so much progress, making these videos, enforcing the good habits. And then I just watched myself throw it all away in 3 trades within 15 minutes. And like, I also, before all of this, I identified the real good trade I should have taken. I know what trades I should be taking. And yet I find myself doing trades like this. And, it's just, that's why I kind of just cut it off after these 3 trades. This last trade is going to kind of be my last attempt at going through with my bias and waiting for the right time and price action. And so that's when this happens down here. Let's drop down to 15-second because that's when I'm going to get in the trade. I recognize that this is kind of the manipulation move now. If this were to be accumulation, this manipulation, now this would be the displacement to grab this high. So I have one last attempt and I do make that long and I do make the money off of it finally. But at this point, I can recognize how many mistakes I've made, how bad I'm doing on the day. And this really should have been my moment to just walk away for the day. Like, I am lucky to have gotten this final long because this is my real short of the day and this is my real long of the day. That on a perfect A plus day, this would be it. This is my short, boom. This is my long, boom, with five micros, size down, of course. But I didn't do anything like that. It was completely the opposite of anything. I stayed the same size the whole time. I dug myself such a deep hole that the only way to dig myself out was by taking the same size risk trade, basically, risking my entire account being locked out for the day. So, before I take a quick pause here to, let stuff sink in, the main points I want to make here just with the beginning minutes of this part 1 is that you're waking up late. You shouldn't be taking trades within the first 30 minutes of you waking up at all, right? You should be getting situated, getting some breakfast, brushing your teeth, just simple things, man. Like, you need to let your mind wake up. And I feel like this kind of happens to me on Mondays a lot. Is I wake up and it's been 3 days since I've traded, and I'm so hungry to do something that I'm not thinking things straight. I'm not thinking it through, and this is the result of that. So I really got lucky. Remaining confident enough at this point to know that this was my last attempt to make any money back on the day. And my next mistake is that I didn't walk away after this. I don't even know if I was positive or not. I don't think I was positive. I was probably down a few bucks, but that should have been good enough for me because my mistake should have cost me much more than this. It should have cost me a locked out account by now. So we're just going to delete this now, and this fair value gap is done. Again, I was just overusing fair value gaps too. It's ridiculous how much I was pushing this trade. And, I just got lucky, to be honest. So yeah, let's just take a minute here. I'm going to go through some more price action, see kind of what's going on, and figure out what happens with these middle trades and why why the money's not adding up. So I'll be right back. All right, so I took a minute or two and recognized where I was on the day here, and I realized that. So now that we flipped our bias, we went long, we finally made some money on the day, and we unfortunately did not walk away. I was continuing to look for a good entry, continuing to look for some kind of structure, some kind of model. The turtle soup, I'm looking for it on a 15-second time frame, and I do kind of see something like it. And so my biggest mistake here now is that I'm not waiting for that to be confirmed. I'm going with it. I'm trying to look for the entry, and that's where my next mistake comes in here at 1046, and the next 2 trades are 52 and 53. So let's just keep that in mind. 46 is going to be right here. And I do remember what's going on here is that I saw some more accumulation. And at this point, I knew that I didn't know what was going on. I knew that something was off. I didn't know my bias wasn't lining up. I'm not waiting for time and price. I'm just waiting for price. And that's like such a thing that you need to keep in mind when you're looking for your entries is you need time and price because the price is irrelevant without the time and the time is irrelevant without the price. So I'm trying to sit here and draw this turtle soup. And I remember this was right here because I wanted that to be the turtle soup. I saw it in discount and I wanted that to be where we bounced up. And guess what? That's not how it works. That's not how it always works out. So there's just another mistake, 1046. I try to take a long in here. Look at how choppy this action is. I can't even imagine trying to take a trade in this, but yet I did. So just again, another mistake. Next one is at 1052, 53-ish. So let's just wait for that action to unfold. Again, we're only doing longs at this point. We're not really, we're not even trying to adapt to the situation here. We're basically just trying to force our good trade in when we don't even know when the turtle soup model on the 15-second is going to be complete. And that's exactly what happens here is that 1052, I try to think that one of these fair value gaps is going to hold, that this order block will hold, and I see some wicks and I think I'm surviving, and I'm even adjusting my risk even lower, and guess what? It goes down even lower because it hasn't done enough manipulation yet. We don't know when it's going to be done. We're observers. We're not predictors. So I need to see enough proof that it has been done and that we are going up, right? Because if this was the turtle soup, this accumulation wouldn't even be existing. It would be up and then one more fair value gap or something, a retest, and then up again. So that's not what's even happening here. We're still manipulating at this point, and I can't even recognize that. I'm just so into, I'm so in it. I'm so like desperate to get the money back. And what I do here is I just lose more trades, more trades, more trades. So 1052-ish, 53, I'm pretty much, my back is against the wall. I pretty much only have $200 before my account gets stopped out. And at this point, I'm like full tilted. I know you guys have been here before. I am not the only person that has done this exact same thing. And the last time I did this was, only like 2 weeks ago. I mean, I showed you guys here on that video where I had a really bad trading day. This is exactly what was going on that day. Just at 6:14, that was 2 weeks ago, I did the same exact thing and I can't even recognize that I'm doing it again, right? And the only reason why I continued was because I had conviction at this point that I would be moving accounts had I really stopped myself out. And as much as that's bad, I'm at least committing to something, right? So, as bad as things get, you have to at least make sure you're committed to something, you're convicted to something. You can't just be, the very worst thing you can be doing is just taking trades without a single idea of what you're doing. I at least knew that in my mind, my ideal was, if I really am going to lose this account, then this is where I'm going to lose it. And if I'm going to come back, this is where I'm going to come back. And so in one of these trades, which is not making sense to me, is because if I had really lost all three of these trades in a row, my account would basically have been stopped out. So on one of these, I remember the computer was, the Trade was doing some funny business with my stop orders, my limits and stuff. And I remember taking one of these trades and the computer took me out before it could even stop me out because I was trying to put in a floor because I was going in long. So I didn't even have a limit at the bottom. I was just letting my account run dry if it was going to come back down. So when I tried to put in a stop loss, instead it took me out of the trade. So it actually profited me a few $100s. And that kind of was when I woke up and realized like, oh, as stupid as I was because I just wanted to have my account lost at this point, it is giving me a chance. And this is a moment where now I have enough space to make a real trade again. So, it's just such messy price action at this point. This is just a good example of, when the volume is low, when the action is slow, you don't want to trade, right? But at the same time, when the action is so volatile, when you are so lost in it and you don't know what's going on, you don't have to trade either, right? And just like I had to learn the hard way for the first lesson, when not to trade because it's so slow, I had to learn my lesson here of when not to trade again because it's just too much going on and I can't follow it the way I would on a day where I feel comfortable and confident. So again, some negative trades here, 52, 53. I guess I took those longs. I went negative. I think it actually might be this trade that I went positive that it took me out. Maybe this was what gave me enough space to work with. Was at 11:01. Um, I honestly at this point I don't even know because of how messy it was all getting. Um, that's just how bad I was doing honestly on the day. I think it was actually here, yeah, 11:01. I put in the limit. I just set it down here. I said, if we're going down here, it's over. I know discount is here. I know if we're going to continue up. If this is truly the turtle soup, this is where we'll bounce off a little bit at least and make some money back. And I think it actually took me out right here. I think that is why I somehow survived that. because it was 4 minutes. This is 11:01. This is 11:05. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So at this point, I somehow got a little bit of hope to take one more decent trade of the day, and that's going to be at 11:06. So it's that tiny, tiny fair value gap there, which I don't know why. I'm just, yeah, that after this wick down, I was definitely in that trade, and I had my stop under this. I'm pretty sure. You can just tell, like, me trying to go through this trade, that like I can't even make sense of what I was thinking at this point. Like, I'm just, yeah, it's appropriate risk. It's around $10. It's not the worst trade, but just considering the circumstances and how bad I was doing mentally at this point, I'm sad to see that I took this trade in complete desperation instead of in confidence. Um, touchdown one more time. Again, I'm thinking we're just gonna lose all our money and just be done. Actually, that trade lasted only 2 minutes, so 11:06 we got in, and then we wicked out right here, and we took our money. Um, that's what I'm saying, is this doesn't make sense to me, because I don't think that's actually what happened. This is actually what happened. It jumped up, and that's when I took price. So now that I see that, yeah, here we go. That was 5 minutes. I'm tripping. It's just because I didn't write that. And the 11:01 was 4 minutes. Yeah, so I guess I just forgot to write that in. But yeah, got in 11:06, like I said, right here after this mega wick down. I said, if we're lower than this, it's over. And then we ran up to 11:23, and I took my take profit right down here because of these highs. So I'm glad I could implement some basic. This is the only long I should have taken. Like, this is my point, is that, like, this action was so choppy and trash. I didn't know when the turtle soup was. I didn't know what was going on at all during these trades. So literally every trade from that one positive to that last trade should not have been made whatsoever. So I'm going to write that down here, because all of these should not have been taken. None of these should be taken. And this is what I mean, because, like, a lot of us will be practicing good habits and learning skills, ICT skills, and trying to practice them. And what really stumps our progress is we don't go back in the trades and we don't identify exactly what we're doing right and exactly what we're doing wrong. Because I know when I'm trading on the day, I'm doing things that are right. Like, I don't have any indicators anymore. I don't have nothing. I'm just looking at time and price, and I have enough skill to be able to make correct biases. But the problem is, I don't have the discipline and the patience to wait for the time to align with that. So that's why most of my trades are negative. It's just because I'm not patient enough, because I'm not waiting to get that confirmation and doing things when I should be doing them. I'm just jumping the gun most of the time. That's where most of my money is lost. So the fact that I can go back in this, and as rough as it is, I'm glad. I know this video is not clean. I know it's going to be, some of you are going to be lost or disinterested, not want to watch more, because you're just like, this guy's all over the place. You need to see this, because this is you. This is you when you go negative and you try to go back in your trades and see what's going on. This is exactly what you're going through. And if you don't go through it like this, and you don't put the pieces together, you're never going to learn anything. You're just going to keep making the same mistakes, and you're going to be wondering why. And that's going to be you for 10 more months than I'm going to be doing that. So those were my trades for the day. And I recognize that after this jump up, I'm closing my computer. I'm going to get breakfast. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm going to do things right now, right? So that was really messy. It was really, this has to be one of my worst trading days in a while, and I hope it remains that way. Because for a Monday, it doesn't surprise me, but for my progress and for making these YouTube videos and, thinking that I'm really progressing, this is sad to see. So the only reason this still doesn't make sense to me, again, is because I'm up $111 on the day, and this kind of nets me to a negative, because we have 12, basically 1,300 positive, 1,250 positive, and this alone is already 700. That's 1,000, 1250. So we'd already be negative, and then there's this. So it just, one of these has to be positive, and I think it's this one. Or if not, then it's this one. But it doesn't matter, because like I said, it's the fact that I was able to go back into here, see that none of these trades were even valid for me to take. So I don't even care if I was positive or negative on these, because I was just lucky. To be honest, Tradeability gave me a break, and I have to make the best of that now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna assume this was positive, right? Number one, because that'll make the numbers add up a little more. Number two is I'm gonna run my P&L here for the day. 111.40. Right? So that wraps up the day here. If I didn't have any more plans for the day, and I had things to do, I wouldn't be trading anymore, right? This would be it. But funnily, the other day I made a video on the 150K account and how I blew it up because I was tilted and I didn't know what I was doing. Funnily, I still have the account, right? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to go on this account and we're going to try to take a nice calm PM trade and see if we can prove to ourselves that that we can come back and like make a level-headed singular trade or two, sizing down appropriately, making sure we can still follow our trading plan and our discipline and our habits. Because this overall is like a C minus day. Like the only reason it's not a complete F is because I made money on the day, which is just lucky. So I'm going to pause the video yet again. We're going to come back to the present, right? So this is all the action up until 12 o'clock. So I'm going to go back. We're going to chart a little bit for the 2 p.m. session, and I will resume the video when I start finding entries and walk through what's going on in my mind. So I'll see you then.